Welcome back to Media Talks TV. I want to jump right in and, I'm going to say a few things about being an influencer. I have been on YouTube now going on almost 5 years now. And it amazes me, even with the consistency, even though I don't have that many subscribers, but the fact that I can build something on my own without a gatekeeper or a boss. I mean, I enjoy this journey as much as anybody else. And me being the age that I am, I'm closer to my late 30s, and I took a chance on really putting myself out there on YouTube because I felt as though I'm like I had to push myself to think in a different way. And when I started this channel in 2019, I didn't think I was going to be an influencer. I thought at one point being an influencer was silly. But, you know, now that I realize it, being an influencer is becoming a very popular thing. The one thing I've understood, especially with this platform and many other platforms like it, I've understood that you have to enjoy the process of being an influencer because like so many other people on YouTube, they just follow clicks and likes. I'm not that type of person. I'm not into this for the clicks or the likes or the subscribers, but the impact. And that's what's most important. But with so many people getting into this lane, it seems like to me, and I really had to really think on this for a while that being an influencer is kind of the equivalent to being a drug dealer in a lot of ways. And I see the similarities with being a drug dealer and a content creator. Sometimes you got to push through when you don't want to. And it takes, and I used to have a real disdain for drug dealers when I was older. I mean, I was raised to not really look up to drug dealers because drug dealers kind of like they sell a dangerous product. But even from the outside looking in, it takes a lot of heart to stand out on a corner all day and sell a product to people while maintaining the competition that comes with it and also maintaining the levity of the customer base that you build up. They say it's more easier to work at McDonald's than it is to be a drug dealer. And I actually agree with that. It takes a lot of guts to be a drug dealer because in the world of drug dealing, you're selling a product that is addictive and dangerous to the customer. And the only reason the customer comes back is because of the addiction and the high. It takes a lot. And it's kind of like you need it. You really like drug dealers if they were given a chance, they would be at some of the top business schools in the world, whether it be Harvard or University of Pennsylvania and any of those schools, because they have a street skill that most college students don't have. I mean, if you really think about what a drug dealer does, they have to stand out on a corner, they have to market their product, promote, sell, try and get a new customer hooked, but also while ducking the competition, ducking the cops because it's illegal, moving off the corner, moving back on the corner, hiding the stash, running when the cops come, dodging stick up kids and stick up men that will rob you for your stash, and then making sure you don't cut into anybody else's territory when you're selling the drug. And all while not get shot when you're doing it. I mean, it's easy for somebody to say I can be a drug dealer until you're in it, and then the danger comes with it, but is it the quick money that keeps that person coming back? But I also see this in the influencer world, how people can get addicted to social media. Only difference is the drug is not pills or heroin or coke or ecstasy. It's clicks, it's likes. Sometimes you post a video up and then you start seeing it get hits. I mean, it causes a euphoric feeling. I remember when I posted my Tyler Perry video up. I posted two Tyler Perry videos up and they got 4,000 views. That was the first time I ever had a video that had 4,000 views on it. And I was, it felt like I was on cloud nine when I posted the shit. It's not like a feeling like no other when you put your message out there and people take a liking to it. And sometimes I kind of feel that way even when I'm dealing with this platform. Influencers have become like drug dealers. And really there's nothing wrong with that, but the thing about it is a lot of people in this game, we forget sometimes you have to detach yourself from the realities of social media, because sometimes you could get sucked in to the point where you start consistently posting, then you have to keep posting and keep that momentum. But what I love about being an influencer is that you get the leverage to have people and build community. I think the greatest people in the world are preachers and pimps, because preachers and pimps sell you a dream. They sell, pimps sell women, but realize that you can't buy love. Preachers sell hope and dreams and build a congregation around that imaginative reality. And then at the end of the day, the ones that are making a profit are the ones that are driving around in the Cadillacs and the cars and stuff like that. But this is what capitalism has driven people to. This is what an economic reality has driven people to. If there wasn't a need for parasites to eat off the host of a dead body or a dead animal, nobody would get fed. But if you think about an influencer, they feed off the attention of their viewers and the like. And when people hear a message and it sticks with them and it resonates with them, people come back looking for more. And so I think in some ways, influencers, you don't have to stand on a corner anymore and sell drugs. But you can sit in front of a camera, turn it on, and then press record. Or you could turn on a podcast mic and press record and say what you got to say and then put it out for the whole world to listen to it. And people take a liking to it, and then you build a community around it and everything else. That's one primary reason why I majored in mass communications when I was in college. And whether people say communications degree is relevant or not is besides the point. The most powerful people in the world have the gift of gab. And you definitely got to learn how to sell something in this life if you want to make money. And I think one of the most important skills is to influence people, because when you have that skill, you can do anything you want. And that's a cold truth that people don't understand. There's so many people out here, you know, they mess around. They know they're making money off of something that is unethical or illegal. But the truth is, people are going to come back for it. You make a product and you build a product and it sells, people are going to want more of that product. That's the American way. Influencers now, the funny thing about Gen Z and what's so great about Gen Z is they take this influencer shit real serious and they know how to monetize whatever they create because they know in this life their systems that they relied upon and that they trusted are not going to give them what they need. And so they have to learn how to bet on themselves. And that's exactly what I'm seeing Gen Z do. Back in 2019, I thought TikTok was a joke. I thought Instagram wouldn't last. But you look at it now, it's the thing that everybody wants to do. And that's why I understand now why it's fundamentally important for me to jump into this realm at my age because it's so many people out there that are stuck in their ways, that don't want to learn anything new, that don't want to take risk and do something different. They just want to follow a default path. And following default paths will get you nowhere. I've had to learn that after the pandemic. That even if the systems that I relied upon eroded, that I would have to build my own system in order to get through life. And just because the previous generation had the ladder doesn't mean the ladder is going to be there for you and me. And that's why being an influencer is kind of like uncharted territory right now. It's like the Wild West. Seeing people like Casanat and I Show Speed and all these other influencers making tons and tons of money through brand deals and doing this thing. And it's like, okay, it took a minute for them to get to where they are, but they are where they are because the system that they built and created helped them get to where they are. I remember I was following when I first started following DJ Academics and the war in Chirac. I remember watching him through 2012 all the way up to 2015. And now look at how big DJ Academics is. Then there was Kevin Samuels. Look how big he got, even though he died. But he was able to amass 1 million followers within the 2 year span that he was on YouTube. I mean, that was amazing. Seeing that growth of people latch on to his viewpoints. Then I realized, once you get to a certain point where you get big, then you got to break off and be platform independent. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to get to is have my own platform, have my own businesses that are automated and run completely by me and control. We living in an era of no gatekeepers. World is at your fingertips, but it requires people like me being at the age that I'm in, being 35 years old. It's pushed me to be a lot more innovative and more creative and actually finding myself to learn different things and not be set in my ways. People that's in their 70s and 80s, they don't want to take the time to learn anything new. But being at my age where I still got my sharpness and my wits about me, I've learned not to despise the youth. I've learned to embrace the youth for who they are and take notes about how they see the world and their perspective of the world. And even though some of the things might flame out, there's some that's on a position to have longevity that most of our parents didn't have when they were coming up. You know, when our parents were coming up, their thing was I have my union job. I'm a part of a union. I represent the iron workers of America. I represent the car makers of America. We keep America moving. That was our parents' generation. Our parents' generation was they took pride in themselves. Their job became their existence, their career. When they say I am an auto mechanic or an auto tech or an automaker or I'm a mason or I'm an auto worker, that was them trying to tell other people that their existence was through their jobs. And then when they lost their jobs, their whole lives crumbled. Our generation, the millennials and Gen Z, we don't share our personal existence with our jobs. And that's one of the things that is amazing. And of course, the corporate world isn't going to come around to this until maybe 20 years down the line. But I'm going to tell you straight up, the corporate world is going to have to start coming to the side of the youth eventually, because when times get rough and these businesses aren't making any money, guess who they're going to want to come to? They're going to want to come to Gen Z. They're going to want to come to millennials to figure things out. And one of the things I've learned, influencers right now, they creating value. It just hasn't caught on to corporate America yet, because corporate America feels like they run the world and that they set the tone, but they don't. Eventually, the leverage is coming towards Gen Z. And that's why when I tell a lot of those graduates, once they graduate, guess what? The world is yours. It's just you got to create some value attached to it. And when they come to you for insight on certain corporate issues, guess what? You're going to be the new CEOs. You're going to be the new next gen leaders and presidents of these big name companies. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, whether we like it or not. You know, when change comes, people got to be prepared for it. And I truly believe when influencers leverage the same things that the drug dealers of the world used to leverage, how they marketed themselves, had to stand out on corners to sell a dangerous product, even though their lives were short lived. You know, the thing about drug dealers and difference, the only difference between the drug dealers and the influencers is that drug dealers have a short lifespan, because with every drug dealer, a new one comes on the block and an old one goes away. That's how business cycles work. But influencers have longevity because the product that they make prints its own money. And there's going to be a time when intensive, hard labor is not going to be required of us anymore. Our creativity is going to be the thing that's going to be the difference between whether you're rich or you're poor or you continuously stay broke. The old way of doing things is starting to come to an end. We just don't see it because right now we're in a dark place with the war and everything else, but we're slowly starting to see the idea of human labor be obsolete. And that's why I took it upon myself to learn new skills. I'm not just learning how to deal with YouTube or post on Instagram or learn how TikTok works. I'm also learning about AI and how I could leverage those skills to build something that I've always wanted to build when I was younger, but couldn't because I didn't have the capital to build it. Now we could build things with vibe code that most of us would have had to pay $10,000 to $20,000 just to come up with the concept of an idea for a new app. I always wanted to be in the app business, even back in 2010. I always wanted to have my own website and my own app. Now I got the chance now because I'm learning how to do prompt engineering and AI and Claude and Chat GPT. Learn how to leverage those things is going to get me ahead of the learning curve of automation. And one of the things that why influencers have become very important in this generation is because they can leverage corporations to come to them and crowdfund them. And once you build that community, it's going to be it's just a beautiful thing, you know. Yeah, some people flame out. Some people have to start from scratch, but the thing about it is your personality shouldn't be attached to this whole influencer thing. And the way our parents worked was, yeah, I worked for this place for 50 some odd years. When I say I am a content creator, I create content, but I'm not the content. I'm just the messenger. The channels and the mediums in which I spread my message, that's just the tool. But one of the things that I've learned is I don't have to attach my personal ego and who I am to these platforms. I put out content, then after that, it's whatever. I'm not looking for likes. I'm not looking for shares. I'm not looking for subscribers. If you subscribe, that's fine. If you don't subscribe, that's fine with me. But the message is out there. So I'm not the type of person I just put out a whole lot of crap constantly. I put out valuable content that people can listen to, and then I just pull back and then I disappear and then I do what else I have to do. But it's very important to understand that influencing and being an influencer is becoming a new career goal for many people. And I think because it's a career goal, it has a lot of potential to leverage bigger forms of success, you know. But that's all I wanted to say. I love creating content. I love being on this platform. But, you know, influencers are the new drug dealers of this generation because they put out content that keeps people coming back for more. And the dopamine works in the same way that it works when you take a drug. Only this time, you don't have the bullshit that comes with it. That's my take. Thanks for tuning in to Media Talks TV. I'm Tony J, and I'm out. Peace.